Hello, I'm your host Gemma and welcome to another exciting episode from Marvelous Videos, where today I'll be taking you through every character confirmed for the MCU'S X-Men 1997. Marvel's upcoming animated television series X-Men 97 has surely set a lot of buzz in the air. Serving as a prequel to the 1992 animated series X-Men, the animated series, the show is expected to release its first season in 2023.
And Cyclops is gone. At my order, destroy the X-Men.
It continues the story after Charles Xavier was taken away in Shah's spaceship. It is believed that Magneto is going to step up in as a mentor for the X-Men, guiding them just the way his former friend always wanted. Along with the main characters like Wolverine, Jean Grey, Cyclops, Magneto and Beast, many other important characters are confirmed.
So very long ago. Is there anything I can do, Charles? The friends thou hast.
To be part of the series. In today's video, we'll be talking about these characters. This series is also a fully funded project of Marvel Studios and not MCU. So, without further delay, let us dive into our video and explore every character confirmed for the Marvel's X-Men 1997. Before we go into our explanation, we have a very small request. If you like our content, please support us by subscribing to our channel. This is a small click for you, but for us, it means a lot. Thank you. Let's begin. Number 1. Cable. The first character on our list is Nathan Christopher Charles Summer, aka The Cable. While Chris Claremont and Rick Leonardo created Nathan's character Cable was from creators Louise Simonson and Rob Liefeld. Geneticists Mr. Sinister had discovered the union between Cyclops and Jean Grey could produce the perfect strong mutant capable enough to defeat Apocalypse.
Are you Adler?
However, that was not possible then, as Jean Grey was believed to be dead, for which Mr. Sinister created a clone of her named Madeline Pryor. He created a fake backstory for her and arranged a meeting between her and Scott Summers. Cyclops, that is. Scott immediately fell for her, as she resembled his long-lost love interest, Jean Grey. The two eventually got married and gave birth to the child, Nathan. The couple raised the child in Anchorage, Alaska, and things went well for the two until Jean Grey was discovered to be alive. While Scott left to reunite with Jean, Mr. Sinister sent his marauders to kidnap Nathan and kill Madeline in order to cover up his actions. Madeline was rescued by the X-Men, while Nathan was captured by Mr. Sinister and kept hidden in an orphanage in Nebraska. After undergoing a series of experiments, Nathan was finally rescued by the X-Men, while Jean Grey killed an uncontrollable Madeline.
No! Stay back!
Cyclops and Jean adopted Nathan and took care of him. Nathan also had a half-sister from an alternate future who was psi-bound to him and was there to respond with her help if ever needed. Things were not normal for Nathan, as he was infected with a techno-organic virus by Apocalypse, which would slowly turn his body into liquid metal. When all attempts to cure him seemed to fail, a member of the Ascani clan appeared from 2,000 years in the future and claimed that Cable would become their saviour in their time. They also had the cure for his infection and so took him to their future, which Apocalypse ruled. After he lobotomized the mutant powers of his brain, he only had the Infinite and the Cone of Silence to surrogate his powers. The Infinite acted like a surrogate for his telepathy, using which he was a cyberpath, capable of reading digital information and broadcasting. His Cone of Silence, created by Fixer and Tony Stark, helped him simulate telekinesis. Number 2. Sunspot. Created by Chris Claremont and Bob McLeod, Sunspot first appeared in Marvel graphic novel issue 4, published in September 1982. Sunspot was born to an Afro-Brazilian millionaire, Emmanuel da Costa, and his archaeologist wife, Nina, who named him Roberto da Costa. Living with his parents in Sao Paulo, Brazil, life was good and easy for him until he first manifested his superhuman mutant powers. At the age of 14, while playing in a championship soccer match for his school team, a racist boy named Keller and his friend knocked Roberto to the ground. Being young and hot-tempered, Roberto got up and retaliated by tackling Keller. Things escalated soon as Keller and his teammate pinned Roberto to the ground and started beating him. This triggered his mutant genes, transforming his body and clothing into black. Keller was hurled away from him, and everyone present in the match fled away out of fear. Roberto, being frightened and perplexed, begged everyone for help, but was only attended to by his girlfriend, Juliana Sandoval. After Gideon performed experiments on Sunspot, his mutant powers accelerated tremendously, modifying over time. Sunspot could absorb solar energy and manipulate it to enhance his strength and abilities. Along with flight, enhanced strength and durability, Sunspot had the ability to project heat waves and concussive energy blasts. He also possessed fire and heat immunity.
Now I'm on the Danger Room, and you want me back on Cerebro?
It's how we're gonna find Charles.
Number 3, Forge. The next character on our list is Forge, a mutant with mystical abilities along with an amazing power to comprehend technology and make anything he can think of. Created by Chris Claremont and John Romita Jr., Forge made his first appearance in The Uncanny X-Men issue 184. Forge was born to a Cheyenne tribe with immense shaman potential.
Now, Forge, climb in. Your job is to keep us in the air.
Raised by Nas, Forge grew up learning mystic arts so that he could become the great shaman and destroy the tribe's enemy, the adversary. Along with learning about spirits, Forge sensed his mutant abilities at puberty, which developed this innate urge to understand mechanical devices and create them. His abilities and the urge towards science made him question the tribe's mystical heritage and brought him to a clash with Nas and his teachings. He then left the tribe and joined the army, where he flourished and achieved the rank of a sergeant. He was shifted to Vietnam during the war, which he faced severe dilemmas. The Vietnamese army had killed his troops, and seeing no other way out, he used his mystical abilities to summon a group of demons which turned the tables of the war, and they won. However, the demons did not wish to stop, and so he was forced to call in an airstrike. He lost his right arm and leg, for which he later got advanced technological replacements and swore never to use his mystical powers. Forge's unique ability was to create any technological device he could imagine. He called it mechanical energy. Apart from this, Forge grew up learning mystical art from the Cheyenne tribe and was born with an incredible potential to become a shaman. He could manipulate spirits and had probably only used it twice. Forge was also an excellent marksman and skilled at hand-to-hand combat.
Fight, the stronger I become. Hey! Good work, Shaw.
Number 4, the Hellfire Club. The Hellfire Club was a social club for the British social elites where they could get pleasure, often defied by moral standards, and consolidate their influence over political and economic matters. The main motive of the club was to acquire and exert power through political and economic influences. Created by Chris Claremont and John Byrne, the Hellfire made its first comic book appearance in X-Men issue 100. The group was founded in England, and in the 1770s, the club operated in 13 colonies. Later, a group of powerful and influential members of the club, led by Sir Patrick Clemens and his mistress Diana Knight, shifted to America and opened their New York branch. During the 20th century, they designed a weapon and called it the Sentinel. Throughout the century, they recruited leading businessmen of the world like Howard Stark, Warren Worthington II, John Braddock, and Sebastian Shaw. Number 5, Callisto. The next character on our list had already made her debut in the live-action film X-Men: The Last Stand. She was a member of Magneto's Brotherhood of Mutants and had the ability of super speed and mutant detection.
In any way, a crack of thunder, the slightest breeze, and my Morlocks will kill your people.
This has been quite different from the comics and the animated series. Callisto was once a beautiful girl but what made her turn against the humans is yet unknown. There are numerous scars on her body, which she later declared to be a reminder of how dumb a mistake it was to live amongst humans. She seemed to have a rough life, tortured or abused by humans, as the very image of her once beautiful appearance was now her greatest psychological fear. Unlike the movie, she later was the leader of a group of mutants known as Morlocks, who lived in the sewers.
You're slow, Storm. Surface life make...
Callisto was a mutant with enhanced strength and reflexes. She also possessed enhanced senses of smell, taste, hearing, and touch, and was classified as a Delta level mutant. However, even without all these senses, Callisto is a huntress and an excellent tactician. She was skilled in almost all forms of hand-to-hand combat.
Human! Ignore her. She's just a little girl. A little girl?
Number 6. Jubilee. Born into a wealthy Chinese immigrant family, Jubilation Lee was an extremely talented acrobat. She had the potential to even participate in the Olympics, but instead, Jubilation, or Jubilee, chose to use her skills for petty thefts and robberies with her best friend.
What's so wrong with being a mutant anyway? No, not a...
Together, they stole from people and escaped on their rollerblades. They spent most of their time loitering in malls. One day after stealing, Jubilee was cornered by 2 mall cops in a dead-end alley. She panicked, which triggered her mutant powers, and she ended up destroying the entire alley. Soon, she adapted to the new changes and learned how to control her mutant powers. Jubilee's parents were both killed by criminals, Reno and Molokai, after which she left her home and survived in malls by committing petty thefts and demonstrating her mutant plasma power for money. Jubilee made her first comic book appearance in the Uncanny X-Men issue 244, Ladies' Night, created by Chris Claremont and Mark Silvestri. Jubilee could create colourful blasts of plasma energy, which can take different geometrical forms. As stated by Emma Frost, Jubilee was one of the most powerful mutants she had ever encountered, and it was just that she cared too hard to control her powers to prevent causing harm to anyone. Somehow, the Sentinels also failed to detect her, and also low-level telepaths like Psylocke failed to notice her presence. After the events of the M-Day, she had lost her mutant abilities, following which she took the name Wanderer and adapted to tech gears to fight.
Show yourself! A moment of your time, Herr Captain.
Number 7. Nightcrawler. Created by Len Wein and Dave Cockrum, Nightcrawler is one of the most popular characters in the X-Men series. He made his first comic book appearance in Giant Size X-Men Issue 1, Deadly Genesis, which was published in May 1975. Nightcrawler, aka Kurt Wagner, was the son of Mystique and the Neatham warlord, Azazel. Mystique was married to Baron Christian Wagner, and Azazel was planning to impregnate Earth women to be able to escape the Brimstone dimension. Azazel managed to impregnate Mystique, and she gave birth to Nightcrawler. The townsfolk and Mystique were horrified at the newborn child's demonic appearance, and so Mystique threw him into the river and claimed that she had killed the demonic child along with the mother. Luckily for Kurt, Azazel always kept an eye on him and saved him. Azazel wanted Kurt to survive, so he rescued him from the river and handed him to one of his other lovers, Margali Zardos. Margali raised Kurt and gave a fake backstory of how she found him near his dead parents. Margali was a sorceress in disguise and worked as a fortune teller in a small Bavarian circus. Kurt was raised by the members of the circus and grew up mastering stunts that became the main attraction for the circus. He worked for the circus until Arnos Jardine, a millionaire from Texas, bought it. Kurt resisted being placed in the circus freak show, for which Jardine drugged him. He was later saved by a mutant boy who could sense other mutants. Kurt's prime mutant ability was to teleport. He does it by travelling through dimensions instantaneously. He's also developed the capability to carry others along with him while he teleported. Although that was easy for him, It was physically demanding for the ones whom he carried. The true extent of his power is demonstrated in the Second Coming story arc, where he teleported over 300 miles in one go. Apart from teleporting, he was an excellent acrobat and sometimes used his tail as a lethal weapon.
Making copy.
Number 8. Morph. Created by Larry Houston, Frank Squallis, and Mark Edward Edens, Morph from the X-Men animated series appeared in the first episode of Season 1. He was a mutant, able to transform into any other human or animal. He was a part of the X-Men. He had a very joyful nature and somehow managed to make Wolverine laugh. During their raid on the Mutant Control Agency headquarters, the X-Men had to face a squadron of Sentinels. Morph, in an attempt to save Wolverine, seemed to have been killed by a Sentinel. Seeing their low chances of winning over the Sentinels, Scott called back the team to retreat, leaving Morph behind. Scott's decision caused a rift between him and Wolverine.
Why did they abandon me? Why did they leave me?
However, Morph was not dead and Mr. Sinister recovered his body. Mr. Sinister wiped off all his memories and sowed hatred for his teammates for leaving him behind. Morph eventually became an agent of Mr. Sinister and tried causing harm to the X-Men. He disguised as a priest, performed a fake wedding for Scott and Jean Grey, and lured them to an inhabitable island, only to be ambushed by Mr. Sinister and the Nasty Boys. He sowed discord amongst the X-Men members by sending Jubilee to the Friends of Humanity headquarters, and also incited Gambit to kiss Rogue and suffer the effects of her power. After luring them to Antarctica, he even managed to depower Magneto and Charles Xavier. It was later revealed and also identified by Morph that Mr. Sinister had created an alternate personality in him that hated the X-Men. He eventually got over his evil form, but preferred staying away from the X-Men in fear of losing his mind ever again. Morph is a mutant with amazing shape-shifting abilities. He's even considered to be one of the best shapeshifters in Marvel. He could transform, maintaining every single detail of his target. His body is made up of unstable molecules, which also gives him a good healing factor. It is nearly impossible to injure him physically, as he is impervious to all attacks. Morph can also enhance his strength to a superhuman level and can survive weeks without food and water. He is immune to all earthly diseases. He can also fly at 40 miles per hour, and this ability is said to be psionic. Number 9. Bishop. The next character on our list is from the future, where the X-Men were legends to the mutants, is Bishop. Created by John Byrne, Jim Lee, and Wells Potasio, Lucas Bishop was born in the Mutant Containment Center in Sheep's Head, Brooklyn, and raised in a crumbling society amongst mutants and humans who joined hands to fight the Sentinels.
Bioenergy, and channel it right back.
I think he's getting ready to rage.
Lucas and his sister, Shard, grew up with their grandmother inside a secret mutant concentration camp in Brooklyn and Nevada. Their grandmother told them stories of Charles Xavier and the X-Men. After the mutants were freed from their camps, young Bishop and Shard resorted to stealing in order to survive, until they met a blind war veteran named Hancock, who raised them with care. Bishop later joined the Exhumes and idolized them until they kidnapped his sister and killed Hancock. Xavier's security enforcers, aka XSE, rescued his sister, and so he later joined them and even became their commanding officer. While on a mission, Bishop got hold of an old recording of Jean Grey stating that the X-Men were betrayed, which led to their destruction. Trevor Fitzroy managed to escape the prison and create a crime portal through which they escaped, followed by Bishop and the Omega. Bishop encounters the legendary X-Men and decides to serve them as Charles' bodyguard. He helped the X-Men in many fights, with his main purpose of preventing their world from being destroyed by the Sentinels.
Reason I've come back. Traitor! Your future ends now!
Bishop could absorb most types of energy. He could convert it into electricity, plasma, or fire. He can even rechannel the energy to inflict concussive blasts on his enemies. Due to this, it is nearly impossible to defeat Bishop using energy blasts. He possessed a cybernetic arm with 2 claws and tendrils in it, and it was powered by nuclear energy. His cybernetic enhancements also granted him cyberkinesis, allowing him to manipulate technology. Number 10. Val Cooper. The next character on our list is Dr. Valerie Cooper, aka Val Cooper. Created by Chris Claremont and John Romita Jr., Valerie made her first appearance in The Uncanny X-Men issue 176, Decisions. At the beginning of her career, Dr. Valerie Cooper served as a special assistant to the United States President's National Security Advisory. She was one of the most important members of the United States government in dealing with threats associated with the growing population of mutants. Dr. Cooper was aware of the catastrophic impact of the mutant powers if they went to the wrong hands. With fear and concern in her heart, she worked towards maintaining peace between humans and mutants by working as a member of the Commission on Superhuman Affairs. Later, she created a team of mutants named Freedom Force and chose John Walker as their captain. Val Cooper is an efficient agent without any superpowers or abilities. She does have a PhD in psychology, specifically on mutants.
We hope to make use of your gift.
Number 11. Wolverine. Wolverine is one of the most popular characters in the X-Men series and is everyone's favourite. The character was created by Lee Wayne, Roy Thomas and John Romita and first appeared in Incredible Hulk issue 180. However, the animated series started with Wolverine after his memory was erased and adamantium was infused in his body.
That's how I knew to find you here. Looks like your memory needs a little help.
It can be assumed that his early life was similar to what has been mentioned in the comics. Wolverine was born to the Howletts in the mid-1880s in Canada. They named him James Howlett. Due to his sickly health, his mother, Elizabeth, and father, John Howlett Sr., brought a young girl named Rose O'Hara to be his caretaker. The family had a groundskeeper named Thomas Long, whose appearance resembled the Wolverine that we know of. Over the years, James and Rose befriended Thomas's son, Dog, and they all played together. Thomas was an alcohol addict and inflicted abuse on the dog, for which over the years, Dog's behaviour changed as well. One day, he even assaulted Rose, for which John Howlett asked the groundskeeper and the kid to leave them. It is later revealed that Thomas had an affair with Elizabeth, and that same night, he tried convincing her to leave with him. Things didn't go as expected, and John caught them. Thomas killed John in front of James, which triggered his mutant abilities. James got his claws, with which he killed Thomas. Elizabeth shot herself beside the corpse of her husband and lover. Over the years, James grew up facing hardships and failures. When Rose and James arrive at a mine, Rose gives him the false name of Logan. Due to Logan's digging abilities, the locals called him Wolverine. Later, he was kidnapped by William Stryker, who experimented by infusing adamantium endoskeleton in him. He even tried to erase his mind, but failed as Logan managed to escape. Wolverine, even before getting his adamantium endoskeleton, was nearly impossible to stop. His combat skills and an enhanced sense of smell and hearing makes him a dangerous opponent. Wolverine is nearly immortal, and his quick healing ability doesn't let him age like others. He is immune to all earthly diseases and can heal from nearly any wound. Later, when adamantium was infused in his bones, he became stronger. His claws were now made up of the strongest metal, and his punches were equivalent to getting slammed by metal weapons.
Well, just keep away from my friends!
Number 12. Cyclops. Cyclops, aka Scott Summers, is also a popular character in the X-Men. He was a mutant who could deliver concussive blasts from his eyes and was the leader of the team of X-Men. Created by Stan Lee and Jack Kirby, The character was introduced in the comics in the X-Men issue 1 in 1963. He was a stalwart field leader and one of the most iconic members of the X-Men. He is one of the earliest students of Charles Xavier. He was born and raised in Anchorage, Alaska by his parents, Christopher Summers and Catherine Ann. He also had a young brother named Alex. When the entire family was returning from vacation, their private plane was attacked by a Shi'ar spacecraft. His parents died in the explosion, but he and his brother survived. This was also the first time his powers manifested, as he used it to slow down their descent to the ground. The two orphans were put into an orphanage, after which Charles Xavier recruited him into his X-Men. In the animated show, he was the son of Corsair and fought his brother Alex to save Polaris from the X-Factor. Cyclops' primary power is the ability to project powerful beams of concussive laser-like blasts from his eyes. These act as extra-dimensional apertures to a non-Einstein universe, where the concussive force endlessly resides. His beams are described to be capable enough to punch holes in mountains. He's also impervious to energy blasts. Number 13, Magneto. Eric Magnus Lenscher, aka Magneto, has been one of the main antagonists of the X-Men series. His ideologies and principles oppose that of Charles, as he believed that the only way their mutant brothers and sisters could survive was by subjugating the humans. Created by writer Stan Lee and artist Jack Kirby, Magneto made his first appearance in the X-Men issues 1, published in 1963. Eric was a Holocaust survivor from World War II, which took away his entire family. He was separated from his parents and captured by the Nazis. Post-war, he met Charles and befriended him. The two worked in a hospital where they saved and cured other survivors. Soon, the Nazi Party remnants attacked the country, but the two friends saved everyone using their powers. Eric was keener on killing the Nazis, while Charles preferred to spare them. This caused a rift between the two, and Eric left. Eric soon adopted the name Magneto and attacked important places like military bases and factories. When he heard the news of the Beast getting incarcerated, he arrived at the prison and tried breaking him out. However, Beast preferred a proper trial and sought justice on official grounds. He left Beast calling him a fool. Voiced by David Hamblin, Magneto opposed the X-Men throughout the animated series, but is expected to mentor them in the upcoming series, X-Men 97.
Mutant liberation begins.
Before getting into Magneto's mutant powers, it is to be noted that he possessed a genius-level intellect and was a great tactician. His primary power is to manipulate magnetism. He can control any form of metal and also create magnetic force fields. His manipulation is so strong that he can control diamagnetic and paramagnetic materials as well. He was fluent in many languages, namely English, German, Polish, Yiddish, French, Russian, Ukrainian, Hebrew, and Arabic.
I should have let you die.
Number 14, Mr. Sinister. Created by Chris Claremont and Mark Silvestri, the man who would become Mr. Sinister was born Nathaniel Essex. Nathan was a big follower of Charles Darwin and firmly believed in his hypotheses on natural selection and inferred that this could evolve any man far superior to anyone's imagination. He rigorously started testing on mutants in hopes of curing his wife's mysterious illness. He created a serum that turned his skin white and gave him instant regenerative abilities. This new transformation stopped him from aging, which in turn fueled his further research into evolving humanity. He found out that the genetic material of Cyclops and Jean would be perfect for his research and devised a plan to segregate them from the other X-Men. He got hold of Morph and brainwashed him to work for him. Morph had the ability to transform into anybody, using which he disguised as a priest and performed a fake marriage for Cyclops and Jean. When the two were on their honeymoon on a deserted island, he ambushed and attacked them. Using Morph, he also got hold of two most powerful mutants, Charles Xavier and Magneto, and stripped them of their powers after luring them to Savage Land. He was defeated by the X-Men, but survived, and fought them later on several occasions. Mr. Sinister is not exactly a mutant, but a genetically altered human, which granted him physical and mental abilities. He can manipulate others' minds telepathically and is also capable of telekinesis. After gaining complete control over his body, Mr. Sinister could also shapeshift, regenerate, and heal from any injury. Mr. Sinister was a scientific genius and was a great tactician as well. He was an expert in biology, genetics, cloning, physics, and engineering.
Stay away from me!
Number 15, Jean Grey. The next character on our list is one of the most powerful mutants of the X-Men team, Jean Grey. Created by Stan Lee and Jack Kirby, Jean Grey was the youngest daughter of John and Elaine Grey. Jean had an everyday life until she saw her best friend, Annie Richardson, getting struck by a running car. The emotional turmoil triggered her telepathic powers, and she felt her friend dying firsthand. Following this, Jean was so traumatized that she slipped into catatonia for 3 years. At 11, her parents consulted a psychiatrist who referred them to Professor Charles Xavier, an expert on mutation. They brought their daughter to Xavier's mansion on Westchester County. Charles confirmed her mutant abilities and suggested that her parents let her stay in Salem and attend Xavier's School for the Gifted Youngsters. She slowly adapted to the teachings of Charles Xavier and later grew up as one of the X-Men's founding members. Jean Grey is one of the Omega level mutants with enormous powers. Her power of telepathy was as strong as Charles Xavier, and she could read the minds of animals. Using her telepathic powers, she could inflict great pain on others. She could also manipulate and control others' thoughts and also enter their minds. She also possessed pyrokinesis and the ability to manipulate flames. She could use telekinesis to create force fields, generate blasts, and fly. She also attained telekinetic godhood, rising above everyone. Number 16, Beast. Hank McCoy, aka The Beast, was born in Dunphy, Illinois to Edna and Norton McCoy. Norton was previously exposed to radiation during a meltdown at the nuclear plant, for which Hank was born with unusually large hands and feet, along with high IQ. He was bullied in school and given names like Magilla, Gorilla, and the Beast by his peers. For these reasons, Hank could not come out of his shell until he met and tutored Jennifer Niles. The two were in deep love. During his teenage days, Hank's mutant genes started manifesting, making him excel in sports and academics. One day when 3 men attempted to rob the stadium, Hank stopped them, which soon made it to the news. A villain named Conquistador noticed it and planned on using Hank as a weapon. He held his parents captive and blackmailed him to steal an experimental nuclear device for him. Being helpless, Hank brought the device to him, but later realized that Conquistador had no plans of releasing his parents before all his motives were fulfilled with Hank. He was then rescued by Charles Xavier and his team, after which he joined Xavier's Institute to further his academic intelligence. There he received the name Beast. Along with superhuman strength, endurance, durability, and agility, Beast is also a genius. His main reason for joining Xavier's Institute was to expand his studies. He appeared like an animal, but had very fallible behavior. He has thick blue fur and razor-sharp claws. His long appendages allowed him to walk on all fours. He could sprint up to 40 kilometers per hour and survive a fall from a 3-storied building. He could also lift heavy weights and was also good at hand-to-hand combat. Number 17, Gambit. The next character on our list is Remy LeBeau, aka Gambit, created by writer Chris Claremont and artist Jim Lee. Gambit made his first published appearance in the Uncanny X-Men Annual Issue 14. Because of his unusual red-on-black eyes after birth, his father abandoned him. He was then stolen by the Thrived Guild and handed over to Antiquari, who considered Remy's appearance a perfect work of art. He was raised amongst other children, where he was given the title Le Double Blanc, or the White Devil. He was later raised by a gang of street thieves known as Fagan's Mob, where at the age of 8, he befriended a young girl named Belladonna. His mutant powers manifested during his teenage days, but he kept it a secret. At some point, he met a de-aged Storm who was suffering from amnesia. He helped Storm free herself from Shadow King. The two became good partners and lived in the Gulf of Mexico, robbing people. Later, when Storm got her memories restored, she goaded Gambit to join the X-Men. Gambit was a charming and skilled martial artist. His unique power was that he could tap into the potential energy stored in an object and convert it into kinetic energy. When he threw any object at a target, it released its energy explosively. He was able to use this power by just looking at it. Gambit could also heal himself by stimulating his cellular activity. He also had a hypnotic charm that allowed him to exert small influences over any sentient mind. Number 18, Rogue. The next character on our list is Rogue. She was born to the beautiful Priscilla and Owen. The two were happily in love, and in order to preserve their relationship, Priscilla got pregnant and gave birth to Anna Marie. The two planned on visiting the Far Banks, which was a dreamland from Native American mythology, where no rules of the physical world existed. Their trip went wrong, as Owen had secretly planned to sacrifice Priscilla to the spirits of the Far Banks. However, Owen's plan did not succeed, as Priscilla took control of them and closed the mystical place behind her. With grief, Owen requested Priscilla's sister to help him raise Anne-Marie. She accepted, but treated Anne very harshly. She was given the nickname Rogue and raised with a very strict philosophy of not making the same mistake of devoting her life to love as her mother. However, she did fall in love with a boy named Cody Robbins. One night, when they were together, they kissed, which also triggered Rogue's mutant abilities. She paralyzed Cody into a lifelong coma. Professor Charles Xavier felt Rogue's anguish and despair and finally called her to join his Institute of Gifted Youngsters. Rogue possessed the ability to drain out a living being's essence upon contact. When she touched anyone, it gave them a biophysical shock while synthesizing their skills, memories, and other attributes into her. She took a great deal of time controlling her powers and managed to do so with the help of Danger and Professor X. Number 19, Storm. The last character on our list is again a very popular one and can control the weather. Created by Len Wein and Dave Cockrum, Aurora Monroe, aka the Storm, was a descendant of an ancient royal line of sorceresses whose special abilities surfaced every 5 years. Their kingdom was located hidden in the Great Rift Valley of Africa. Her mother, Ndar, married an American photojournalist, David Monroe, and settled in Manhattan, where Aurora was born. They then shifted to Cairo, Egypt. The family got caught in an Arab-Israel conflict and got killed, leaving Aurora buried in a pile of rubble. Due to this, she had claustrophobia throughout her life. She met a man named Shadow King, from whom Professor Xavier saved her later. Despite knowing what to do, Professor was a bit hesitant to contact Storm, as the cultural conflict would harm her. However, he contacted her at last and explained that she is not a queen, but a mutant. Storm joined the X-Men and fought alongside them in several battles. Storm's prime power is weather manipulation. She could summon a storm, powerful blizzards, thunderstorms, tornadoes, hailstorms, and hurricanes at her will. She could also sense environmental changes. Her emotions deeply wind her powers, and she is entirely in tune with nature, for which she needs to control her emotions to not disturb the weather. And if you liked our content, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to us if you haven't already. Have a good one and be safe. Thanks, everyone.